guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 9 o'clock on a Tuesday, and we're doing something very different on the channel today. We're kind of having a bit of a debate. Now, if you saw my video a few days ago, you'll know what this is about. If not, I'm going to give you some context. I have two very special guests with me today. The first special guest is a very good friend of mine, somebody who I consider to be one of the top creators on the planet, a stand-up guy, really nice person, the head of Orion Magic Productions, Perseus Arkomanis. Hopefully I haven't butchered his name. Normally I do. And secondly, I have also here with me a young artist who's going to be releasing a trick in 2023 with Orion, and that's Aaron Ducker. Now, I'm going to hand over to these guys in a minute, and I'm going to get them to say hello. But just to explain what this is all about, just in case you've stumbled onto this video and you haven't got a clue, Aaron's been posting an awful lot on social media over the last few days, talking about an issue that he has with Penguin Magic, and specifically about a trick that got released recently through Penguin Magic by Amanda Nepo, called Diamond Cutter, and he feels wronged by Penguin and wants them to do something. I'm going to let him explain that himself. He messaged me and brought me into the equation. Everybody on social media has been speaking about it. It's on various different Facebook groups. It's on Reddit. It's on the Magic Cafe. It's absolutely everywhere. Like I said, I did a video about it a few days ago, and you know, I thought it would be a good idea for Aaron and Perseus to have a platform like this YouTube channel where they can put their opinions across. Now, if you've seen my video, and I'm going to hand over to the guys in a second, if you've seen my video, you'll know I kind of disagree with where they're coming from. I've got no dog in this fight. It's not like I work for Penguin Magic or on their payroll. It's just I kind of look at things from my perspective, and I don't see where Aaron is coming from. So maybe he can change my mind. I don't know. We're going to have a very civil debate. He's going to put his point of view across. I'm going to put my point of view across. Perseus will probably chip in, but a lot of the time he'll probably just sit in the corner looking very handsome and moody like he normally does. We don't know, but let's hand over to the guys first of all. So Perseus, Aaron, how are you guys? You okay?
Hey, Greg.
Hey, man. How you doing? Love that sexy. Hey, it's really good to see you.
I need to, if you allow me to start things off, that me and Aaron were both really surprised that you actually invite us to do this, and we're honored to be here and really happy to do this. Now, if you allow me, I want to tackle two things before we even begin.
Yeah.
The first thing is that we're here to talk. We're not here to argue. Even debate is debatable. I mean, we should have a discussion about something we all love, which is magic. And the second thing is that there's been someone that hinted that this whole thing is some marketing ploy or, you know, a publicity stunt that we might be doing for our product. And I want to shut this down immediately. I want to say straight to everyone, this is not. Right now, you either don't believe me, or you take into account who am I, how much of my life I've dedicated for magic, how ethical I am during that process, and the fact that if it was a marketing ploy, it would be the most mistimed and worst marketing ploy in the history, because Aaron's Effect is due to be released in 2023, where all this has been forgotten. And also, if it would be a marketing ploy, it would be for Amanda's trick, because if anyone is going to get interested in buying this, there's only one place that can do it right now, and that's Penguin Magic. So this is not why we're doing this. I want to kick these things off from the get-go so we don't even tackle them again. And yeah, I know you guys spoke through text, but I think it's nice to introduce you guys to each other physically. So all the way from Toowoomba, Australia, this is Aaron, my friend, Aaron Ducker.
Aaron, say a few words. I had to mute you just because you've got background noise and it was affecting the audio. So you're just going to have to unmute yourself every time you speak. So I'm just going to put something up on the screen. And if you just click yes, you can unmute yourself, and then we'll just keep you muted unless you're talking about it. All right. There you go.
Thank you.
How you doing?
I apologize. I didn't realize that, but
okay.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm a magician and comedian from as Percy says, Toowoomba, Australia. I do basically festival shows. I'm a festival performer, and every year I write a whole new hour with new tricks created just for each show. So
Cool, brilliant.
that's who I am.
And-
Also, before
Yeah.
we start, I would like to say don't blame any individual member of Penguin Magic for this. These are just people doing their jobs, and also if Amanda feels upset or threatened or hurt in any way by anything I've said, or that was never my intention, and I apologize to her. This was never about Amanda. It was never about the individuals of Penguin. I just think the ethics of Penguin. I think on the way down through this, I think there were mistakes made. That's all this is about to me.
Yep.
Okay. Well, let's start off at the very beginning. You've posted on social media. You've messaged me. You've posted on the Magic Cafe. Why don't you synopsisize people that don't know about this issue and explain what you think that Penguin have done wrong and what you would like to see happen?
All right. So as you said in your video, I submitted the effect in 2015. Penguin said no. Fair enough. I'm not salty at Penguin for saying no. They have their reasons. Years go by. Occasionally, I throw out to someone if they're interested, but mostly I keep my material and I just perform it in my shows. But again, in 2021, I decided a bunch of magician fans saw it and went, "That's actually a really good effect." So I just decided, I'd throw out to some companies to see if they're interested again. And eventually, Perseus saw it, and Perseus wanted to pitch it to Illusionist. And Illusionist said no. But Perseus fought really hard. And when he left Illusionist and started his own company, he said, "I want better half for my company." And so that was that. We were going to release it. And then we saw Amanda come out with this diamond cut. It back in January. We knew it was going to be coming out. And I said, "That's very similar. Can you contact them and just have a chat with them?" And we talked to representatives and they said, "Sure, should be fine." And now they brought out with no credit. No, well, I say credit, the word I should be using, and I got to thank John Allen for pointing out the differences. I don't know magic company stuff. I'm just a performer. I'm the idiot monkey. But the way I should have used is acknowledgement. I just want acknowledgement. It's not even a big statement. It's just, even if it's in the tiniest text possible at the bottom of the page, you have to get a magnifying glass and put it up to 400%. And it just says Aaron Ducker was here 2014. Simple, done.
Okay. And you're saying that it's not Amanda in any way that you blame. In fact, you say that Penguin have wronged her by putting her into this situation. Yeah.
I feel bad for Amanda because when I first saw it, I cried my eyes out because I was like, I don't think it's entirely mine, but there is enough that is mine in my opinion. I just think it's very similar. And I also cried because it's Amanda. I really, really like Amanda. I really want her to do well. I think she's going to do amazing things.
You say but what I'm trying to get to here, my friend, is you saying that you think the Penguin have wronged her. You think the Penguin have thrown her under the bus. I can punch up the message that you sent me if you want me to.
Yeah.
But you said something about, you felt that Penguin had wronged her or something. Do you remember the words you used? I can punch it up if you want me to.
I don't remember, but basically the way I feel is because this drama never had to happen. We tried to do everything the ethical way until it became impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Perseus can attest to that.
I mean,
but I'm trying to work out how you think that Penguin have wronged her. How? Because we'll kind of dissect it, and I want to kind of fully understand exactly what you're coming from. But it's that kind of thing that you said to me that, like, you don't blame Amanda. You think that Penguin have put her in a very difficult position. How have Penguin put her in a very difficult position?
Because all they need to do is add a line of text to their product page. It wouldn't affect Amanda's sales.
But right, okay. I've spoken to Sean Dunn. Sean spoke to Amanda. You know, you said, I want this line of credit, blah, blah. Sean and Penguin, as far as I'm aware from the posts that they've made on social media, they don't think it's necessary, and we can get to that later on. But they did speak to Amanda, and they did ask Amanda if she would be happy having an acknowledgement on the ad copy, and she said no.
Yep.
So how have Penguin wronged her? Why are you focusing on Penguin? You asked Penguin, you said, Penguin, will you please do this? Penguin then went to Amanda and said, Amanda, this is the situation. This is what Aaron's asking for. What do you think? And Amanda said no. So what I'm trying to do is forget about everything else for a second. We can get to that. In this one moment, how have Penguin wronged Amanda? You're saying, hey, I like Amanda. I respect Amanda. I want Amanda to do well. And I'm cool with that. And that's fine. And I think she's a very talented performer as well. But how have Penguin suddenly become the bad guys here when it's Amanda that said no? Because from an ethical point of view, you're talking about ethics. From an ethical point of view, you asked Penguin. Penguin said, we'll consider it. We'll speak to Amanda. Spoke to Amanda. Amanda said no. And yet you're saying Penguin are putting Amanda in a difficult position. I don't see how that. I don't see how 1 and 1 adds 2 in this situation.
Can I hop in for a second?
Yeah, go for it.
So what Aaron's trying to say is that they wronged her way before that.
How?
They wronged her when she gave them the effect. Now, I get it. It was 7 years ago. No one could have remembered it. They see thousands of effects. I get it. I believe that, right? But the moment it was presented in her live lecture, we contacted them. Aaron did, I did, and to remind them, hey, you've seen this effect before. It's not fair. You said no to that. You can't bring it out with another performer. At least acknowledge the initial creator that created back in 2014. And they said, yeah, it's not going to be a problem. We'll talk with the team and with Amanda. And then they didn't come back to us. They released it without any credit. And then we reached out again and we're like, hey, we were waiting for a response. You're like, oh yeah, we talked about it. We thought it's not.
I get that, and you know,
it's not the same thing.
No. But in this, I get what you're saying, Perseus. I absolutely do, and we'll get to that in a minute. But this one specific point, I don't want to gloss over, because the point that Aaron's making here is he's very specifically said, Penguin are the bad guys. Yeah. He doesn't blame anyone.
Not the bad. He's not saying
Penguin. No, okay. But he said earlier on in this interview, he doesn't hate any one particular member of staff at Penguin, but Penguin as an entity have wronged Amanda.
Yeah.
I don't see how, because they, regardless of
because
they released it and blah 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 blah, but they reached out to Amanda and Amanda said no. That was a decision on Amanda's part.
Okay, so
why are we going 100%? Because in every post that Aaron's made, he's been very, 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 very surefire on Amanda's done nothing. Amanda's fantastic. Amanda's great. Penguin have put Amanda in a difficult position. Penguin have done this to Amanda.
Okay, let me explain.
Yeah.
First of all, she's 16, right?
Yeah.
She's way too young. That's her first release.
No, it's not. Her first release was when she was 14.
There you go. Is it her second?
Well, I mean, it depends if you count a Penguin Live as a
the third.
Yeah, I don't know. She's released a few things.
Yeah, she released 3 things. Penguin has released millions of things, right? Yeah. They've been around. When we're dealing about something like that, it's their responsibility. So give me a second.
Okay.
If you show me an effect, and I told you, I don't know, Craig, this is not Orion style. We're not going to publish it or whatever.
Mhm.
Sorry, it's just not meant to be with that effect. And then after a while, someone comes to me with a similar effect, and can go about how similar and all that later on. It is my responsibility to go. I love what you did. Love the additions, the subtleties you put. But I've seen this before. Someone has submitted it way before you. Why don't we contact him and see what we can work out? Or if I forget about it completely and I release it, and you come back and go like, "Hey, dude, I've shown you that like years ago." My instant action should be off and go to the artist and go like, "Dude, that's on me. I'm sorry, it was submitted to me. We're not gonna go into royalties and all that. Craig wants a little bit of acknowledgement. We're gonna put it in there, and that's the end of it. I'm not gonna even. I would never ask, because that's on me. That's not on them. They had no clue. They individually created it. They made a subtlety about it and make it a little bit different, but they didn't know the initial effect. I did, or should have known. And even if I forgot, Craig reminded me. So it's like, that's on me. We're just gonna add a line of text. That's not gonna affect either the product, the sales, or you. Cool.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron. What Perseus is saying is you feel that Amanda is completely blameless in this situation.
Yes, because
and Penguin are the ones that have wronged her, because they should have advised her to give you an acknowledgement.
because as Perseus said, Penguin is her industrial liaison. They know the industry. I don't know the industry. Perseus is my industrial liaison. If there's any business decisions, he's the one who makes it regarding magic. Because I don't, as I said at the top, I'm not a magic company guy. I don't know how this industry functions from the inside.
Okay. Well, let's get back to that. Let's talk about the actual product, because we've talked about various different things back and forth and so on and forth. Let's talk about actual better half. So you went to Penguin in 2015 and you said to Penguin, "Hey, here's a product, better half, boom, 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 boom," sent them a video. And they said no. And you put that blog up and you actually screen captured what Sean said to you, or whoever it was at Penguin said to you.
Yep.
They were very nice to you, but it was like a one sentence thing saying, "No, it's not the sort of thing that we're looking for. We're not after it, blah, 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 blah."
Which is fine. That's the decision.
Cool. So then I know that you tried to release it through Vanishing Ink and Illusionist.
Yeah.
Are there any other companies that you went through at that time?
There's a few, and a lot of them just said, because you're unknown, and I agree with you on one of your points from your video that I am not as marketable as Amanda Nepo. It's just
yeah. But here's the thing: every single magic creator at one point had their first release. Every single magic creator. Perseus is a huge name in this industry, but at some point back in the day, he'd never released a product, and he released his first product. Sometimes somebody can come on the scene and just absolutely blow things out the water. It's not about marketable or not marketable. It shouldn't. That's not an excuse as to why they didn't take it. Perseus will tell you. I'm sure he will, that if several companies didn't want it, inherently at that point there was probably an issue with the product.
Let me get to that. It's okay. Because the product is expensive, because it's gaps and you need refills, and you printing that amount of cards. That's why I haven't brought it out individually, because printing the amount of cards you need to provide the amount that you will need to bring this out as a product is cost prohibitive, especially when you've got a new artist and you don't know how it's going to sell.
Yeah. And also to the point you made, Craig, I don't think there was something wrong with the product. I saw the product and immediately saw the potential on it.
Okay.
The thing is, like, that again, maybe it comes down to taste. Maybe it's come down to, the style of effects companies want to put out. But I mean, it doesn't mean, I mean, and again, I'm sure Aaron's argument, because I've talked with him, obviously, it's not that, okay, Aaron is like this Australian guy who nobody knows. Amanda Nepo just full pen and teller, but we'll go with her. There was never a
Yeah,
kind of
and
thing.
nobody's
I
saying it
don't.
is. I think
Yeah,
that's been very dismissive of Amanda. I think we need
yeah.
to stop that right
Obviously,
there.
obviously.
Oh yeah,
You brought it out as an argument in
yeah,
your
no, and you know,
video, but it's not.
yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, I think, and that is a business decision, and we can get to that a little bit. But I'm not even talking about Amanda right now. I'm talking about the actual product. You describe Better Half as like your baby, and it's something that you're really passionate about, and you love it, and blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. So you tried to put it out through a few different companies in 2015, I think it was.
Throughout the years, man.
Yeah,
throughout the years, yeah.
And everyone other than Perseus has said no to it for whatever reason. Doesn't really matter what the reason is, but everyone knocked you back for whatever reason. Might be
In a way, that's kind of the perfect storm, because their companies, they're just going to put it out as product. Perseus actually believes in it, and the fact he loves it as much as me is why I'm so happy it ended up with Perseus.
Yeah, and Perseus is a great guy. Absolutely a great guy. My question is, or a couple of questions before we even get into Amanda versus you and all of that stuff. You love this product. You pitched it around a bunch of people and everyone said no. And then 7 years later, Perseus said yes. Brilliant. Okay. Why didn't you release it as a write-up in it? If you wanted it published, if you wanted your name on it, and you said yourself, you're not a magic creator, you're a performer, you do festivals and so on and so forth. If you're so passionate about people wanting to know it's yours, when everybody knocked you back, hang on, Perseus, let me finish. When everybody locked you back, you could have put it in a magazine. A magazine would have definitely took it and published it. Back then, in 2015, Magic Magazine was still going. Genie is going now. Vanish Magazine. There's a bunch of places you could have published it. You could have self-published it as an ebook. Gaffed cards are available. The gaff that we need for this, without going into exposure or anything, the gaff you need, I could go into my Magic Den right now and grab a load of misindexed gaffed cards that would work.
It needs a very specific misindexed gaff card. Skinnamonte cards exist, all that exists, but
my question is, but you can get cards printed. I can go to Print by Magic, and I can have a deck of those cards printed relatively cheaply. I can go to Card Shark and I can get a deck of those cards printed relatively cheaply. It's not cost prohibitive if one person wants to do it. The question I've got for you is, why didn't you publish it in the magazine and say, hey guys, to do this, you're going to need this gaff card. This is the gaff card you're going to need to get. You can go to this company, this company, this company, and you can get them printed up in the deck. And then you've got enough for 52 performances. To finish that, let me just finish, Aaron, and then just give me 1 second. Because here's the thing, right? I've published a lot of Magic over the years. A lot of Magic. And you know what? There's been tricks that I've had that I've worked on, and I never got around to producing it or speaking to a producer about it or speaking to a magazine about it. And by the time I actually got to a point that I was ready to put it out and I realized somebody else had done it, I just threw my hands up and said, oh, well, somebody got to market first. Somebody actually put that trick out first. It wasn't me. Oh, well, I just move on to the other thing. Because you said earlier on, very proudly, that every year you create a new show. Every year, and you said you create your own magic. So it's not like a lot of shop bought stuff. You create your own magic. So that tells me you're a creative person. That tells me you've created a lot of magic, because you couldn't have put a show together every year and created new magic for that every year and not have the ability to create magic. So it's kind of a twofold question. Why didn't you publish it a few years ago? I don't think it's a money thing for you. It can't be a money thing because, you know, you've said that on the internet. So why didn't you publish it in a magazine so it's on your name? And why is it the only thing that you've pitched over the last 7 years? Because you're obviously a creative guy. Why not just go, oh, well, you know, and just put something, you know, create something else? It seems like you have the ability to do that.
One, I didn't know the magazine thing was an option till you just said it right now. That is my only ignorance.
Really? You didn't know that you could publish have you ever read a Magic magazine? You must have. You're in Magic. You must have read a Magic magazine, right? You've never read
I'm not really into Magic magazine stuff. I read books and watch DVDs.
So you've never read a magic magazine ever? So
I live in Australia where we don't have like magic shops or anything here. We don't have a huge magic industry in Australia.
so you didn't know that you could publish a trick in a magazine? That
I honestly just didn't. It's my own ignorance of the industry.
Okay, so but you know that instant downloads are around. Like for example, the Penguin Partner Program. You don't need to go through Penguin to release something. The Wire by Theory 11. There's a ton of different stuff where you can publish a trick yourself and even try and get money from it. And you know, as I said, with those gaffs, you know, gaffs like that have existed. Now you might need a specially made gaff, although I've got gaffs that could do the same thing. But by the by, that doesn't matter. You could publish it as an instant download and say, hey, this is my trick. It's called Better Half. This is how it works. You can make a nice little trailer for it. And you can say, this is the gaff that you're going to need. Now, if you want to get these gaffs, you can go to this place, this place, this place, print them off as a deck. It's not going to cost you very much. And then you've got 52 performances.
I didn't think
what I'm saying is you went around to all these different companies and they all said no. Why didn't you think about then putting it out as an instant download? Because in the blog that you put, correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be wrong here. Let me just check. In the blog that you put, where's the blog? Here it is. Let me just get it up because I don't want to. I don't want to get this wrong, buddy. In the blog that you put, you said to Penguin, I wonder if you guys would be interested in taking a look at my effect, and they got back to you. Here it is. They got back to you and said, Aaron, I recently watched several of your effects sent to me. I really enjoyed the creativity of everything presented, blah, 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 something about t-shirts. I'm not sure there's anything that would be good for Penguin to produce, but we'd be definitely interested in hosting an instant download if you put something together with an actual performance. So way back in 2015, Penguin was saying, hey, we'll give you an option for an instant download. That would have published it effectively. And it wouldn't have been a product with a nice fancy box, but it would have been published. It would have had your name on it. It would have been out there 7 years ago, and you would have had money from it because Penguin is saying right there, we'll put it out as an instant download. All you need to do is give us a performance.
Craig, you said yourself, that's Sean nicely just saying, we're not interested. That's just...
No, but they're not. No. They're not. He's saying here, now I know this is coming, I've just read it, it's coming from Sean Dunn. I know Sean. I've actually gone over to Columbus and I've worked with Sean. Perseus knows Sean. He's done a Penguin Live.
Yeah.
Sean doesn't bullshit. If he doesn't want to have somebody work with him, it's very easy for him to say, no, thanks, I don't want to work with you. This is exactly what he said. We would definitely be interested in hosting an instant download if you put something together with an actual performance. So he's saying to you, give me a performance and we'll put it out as an instant download.
All right. Can I ask you something, Greg? Because I need to.
Yeah, of course.
You're telling me that if you saw an effect from a guy going like, I have this effect, it's great. Oh, by the way, you need to go and print up some gaffed cards. You wouldn't crap all over that effect.
No. Man, I review downloads all of the time. I've just reviewed a download by Joseph B. And it required me to get like 4 or 5 gaffed cards, and I just gave it 100%. It was on 2 review shows 2 weeks ago.
Though. That's the thing. When you love something for the art and not about the money, and you want to put it out for people to perform.
But the argument that Aaron's making here, Perseus, is that he got knocked back by Penguin 7 years ago. He didn't get knocked back by Penguin 7 years ago. They gave him an option of how he could actually bring this out.
Which wasn't good of an option.
But did you go back to Penguin and say, I don't want the instant download option? Because after posting that on your blog, which is a reply saying, we'll do it if you do this, you say, years go by, and I kept the piece in my act and performed it as a special one-on-one thing to my clients. So when they said, hey, instant download, did you go back to them and say, you know what, thanks for the offer of the instant download, but you know what, I'm not feeling that, and the reason I'm not feeling it is because of X, Y, Z? Like, I don't understand, because the whole point of this is they knocked you back 7 years ago.
No, that's not the point. That's not the point.
Oh, it's one of the points. That's where it started. Because if Penguin had said, yes, Aaron, we'll produce it 7 years ago, we wouldn't even be here now. So that's where it started. as far as I can see, they didn't knock you back. They just made you a counter offer. I've negotiated with a lot of magic companies. I'll tell you right now, when I started working with Penguin, we spoke about producing products, they said to me, yeah, we'll produce it in the UK. And we'll get somebody to come and film it in the UK. And I was like, no, I'd rather go over to America. I don't want to do it in the UK. I want to go over to you. I want to film it in your studios. And they went back to me and said, I'm not too sure about that. I was like, I want to go over to America. If you want the product, I'm going to go over to America. And they were like, okay, then. It's called negotiation. They're not saying no here, Aaron. 7 years ago, they're saying, how about an instant download? But at that point, you were like, Penguin turned me down. I don't think they did.
Well, I just read it as they did. Maybe you're right, but I just read it as that was just a nice way of saying thanks, but no thanks. We're happy to give you a instant download because it costs us nothing.
Okay, that's not how it reads to me, but maybe it's interpretation. It doesn't read that way to me. But I think they were genuinely trying to come to some sort of arrangement. But by the by, that Perseus, you said earlier on you believe that Penguin didn't remember that product. Yeah. You've worked in big magic companies. You know how much stuff gets submitted.
Absolutely, and I trust Sean Dunn. I like Sean. We're friends, and I trust him when he says I did not remember his effect. I trust him.
Okay. So then we get to the bit where we are now, which is the crux of the matter, which is Amanda's product comes out, Diamond Cutter comes out.
No, doesn't. No. Her
Penguin Live comes out.
Yeah.
And she includes Diamond Cutter on the Penguin Live.
And it's mentioned that this is going to be a standalone product in the future.
Okay, it's going to be a standalone product in the future. Okay, boom. So at that point, that's absolutely fine, because from your point of view, from Aaron, your point of view, everything's fine there, because that 7 years that you acknowledge that Sean couldn't have possibly remembered it from 7 years ago. So
absolutely.
So now Amanda comes in, does a Penguin Live. You watch the Penguin Live. You see Diamond Cutter. So you contact Penguin and say, hang on a second, that's very similar to a trick that I bought out 7 years ago. And what do you say to Penguin at that point? Are you trying to get them to stop it coming out, or are you trying to?
No.
Are you just wanting the credit from the very beginning?
We just want the acknowledgement from the very beginning.
Okay.
We never asked them for money, and we never tried to stop their release. I don't think it would be fair to Amanda to try to stop their release.
Okay. So, and I'm going to get to the differences between the products, and I'd like your point of view on that. But typically in the industry, and let's put aside for a minute the similarities or lack of similarities of the product. We'll put a pin in that for a minute, but trust me, we will get back to it. Yeah. Generally, as a rule, the argument here is it's first to market. It's first to market. That is the industry standard, which is the first person to produce a trick. That person is the person that gets the credit for it. The first, but it's not about somebody who, because here's the thing.
Normally that's the rule. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that rule, isn't it? You know that as well as me. It's
usually that's the rule, yeah.
It's first. Absolutely. It's first to market. So she's the first person to produce this. This is a bit. You've tried to produce it. You've gone to various different companies.
She's not. Penguin is, and that's where the problem lies.
Go on.
That Penguin is who the one who decided who gets to market first. That's the problem. By accident, yes, but they're the ones who had both effects, and they decide who's the first to market. That's where it comes dodgy, that's where it becomes hard to debate over. Because yes, if Amanda, and Aaron has said it before, if Amanda just came out on her own or with a random company that nobody knows and produced that, he would go like, well, bummers, she was first. Well, I guess now we have to ask for permission.
So she self-produced the trick, to be clear.
Yeah.
If she self-produced the trick, you wouldn't be making an issue at all.
Nope.
The issue comes because she's produced it through one of the many production companies that you pitched your trick to over the years. Yes. So But
it is, and I can see your frustration. It is a really special thing that just happened. The stars have aligned to make this horrible coincidence. We understand that, and that's why.
Because you're Aaron. You're not saying here that Penguin held onto your idea from 7 years ago and waited for Amanda, who back then was like 10 or 9, waited for you, or whatever age she was back then. You're not saying that that Penguin held onto your product from 7 years ago, and then when Amanda bumped into them, they were like, oh wow, we've got a great trick from 7 years ago that you can market under your name. You're not saying that. You agree that this is totally independent of your better half, and she's never seen it before.
Yeah, they didn't grow on a test tube, but I'm not. I'm maybe a bit weird, but I'm not crazy, man.
I'm not saying you are, but what I'm saying is you agree that this was created independently to your trick by Amanda.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
100%. There's no way she could have known about me.
So now, if you agree that she couldn't possibly have known about you and that she's created this trick, then the argument really comes with regards to our Penguin within the rights to say no to your product and yes to Amanda's.
No, that's not.
And because that's what's happened here. They've said no to you 7 years ago, and then they've said yes to Amanda.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay?
But
so that's
fine. It makes sense for them to forget about the initial trick. We get it.
Yes.
Because we reminded them of it. Like, hey, you've seen this before. You know, somebody else created this thing. So it was something really similar 7 years ago.
Okay.
At least put on an acknowledgement.
Well, we keep coming back to this. You've seen something very similar. So let's talk about that first of all. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about Diamond Cutter versus Better Half. And
We've done it so
we
many
have
times.
to. We have to. We've got to, because really that's the crux of the argument here, Perseus. We kind of have to. Now, obviously, I've not seen a tutorial for your trick, but I have seen a couple of performances.
It's 4.5 hours or more. So there's a lot of things.
Well, we showed like 4.5 hours.
But I've only ever seen the same performance. So if it's 4.5 hours and there's multiple routines, I've never seen multiple routines. If you want to pause this video and send me footage of other routines and I'll look at it and then we'll continue this video in an hour or two, I'm fine to do that. But I can only base it on I can only base it on the videos that you're putting public on social media, Aaron. The videos that you are putting on Reddit and Magic Cafe and Facebook to say, hey, this is my trick, I can only base it on those videos. Okay.
Which is the main effect.
Which is the main effect. Okay, cool. So the main effect, as far as I can see, is somebody picks a 5 of clubs. It's lost into the pack. You have a 10 of clubs come to the top. You tear it in half, and the 10 turns into a 5.
One of the halves
turns into a 5, and boom.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Regardless of, and we'll talk about other stuff in a minute, but I think that is very different to Diamond Cutter. And I'll tell you why. And I know you're going to disagree with me, and I know you're going to come back at me, but at least let me tell you why first. So the reason I think it's different is from the videos that I've seen you do, and I wouldn't normally talk about method on a video like this, but one thing that I've noticed is you're more than happy to talk about method with regards to Amanda's trick everywhere. It's basically been exposed on every... No, it has.
That was a mistake.
Whether it was a mistake or not...
No.
Many times that Aaron's talked about pieces, covering thing, chapstick. It's been completely exposed.
Let's tackle this because I don't want this to be in the air. He posted in his blog something about... He posted a screenshot.
From Sean, Sean, and it just partially mentioned something. I didn't realize I hadn't read the text properly in like ages. That was my fault. When Percy said that's happened, I took it down immediately. It's not there anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
on the Facebook page, on the post on Facebook, which I'm currently trying to find. Have you got a link to the post on Facebook? There's
it's on Magicians Only, I think.
Yeah, there's like a lot of conversation about method on there.
Not by us.
And it's well, regardless. I mean, it's your post. You could have literally taken it down. But there's a lot of conversation about method.
Not by
In fact,
us.
there's
That was
somebody
never our attention.
There's somebody that like discussed it with you. I think it's been taken down off Facebook, actually, as far as I can see, because I don't see the post anymore.
It is somewhere around there somewhere. The thing is, Aaron mentioned the some part of the method by accident. The moment he was notified about that, he took it down. You talked about the method in your podcast with Lloyd.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, you know, that the method has been discussed on both Amanda's trick.
We never wanted to do that. That's the thing. It has been discussed, but it wasn't.
Tag me in on there, please, Aaron, if you can. Tag me in on there. That way I'll be able to see it.
I just said in the sidebar of the chat.
Yeah, but can you? Would you mind tagging me in on the actual thing, because I want to access it on my phone, not on the laptop, because I don't want it to affect. Anyway, so regardless, we can look at that in a minute. But regardless, let me get my point of view here. So, as far as I can see with the trick, you have the gaffed card on top of the deck. Second from top, you have a 10 of clubs. You force the 5 of clubs, goes into the deck. You do a DL to show the 10. Take that off.
Not necessarily.
That's what in both videos. That's what I'm seeing.
But we have alternative handlings.
Okay, but I can only base it right. You're using 2 particular videos to make your arguments here. I am basing it on those videos. If you have another video, send it over to me and I'll look at it right now. But I'm going to base it on the videos that you're using on social media to make your case. I'm not going to base it on any other videos unless you want to send that over to me now and I'll look at it.
Okay.
Well, my stuff from that's not edited yet. I filmed it a while ago, but I do have a friend who performs it without a double lift, and I can send him his video right now.
I want to see you doing it, man. It's your effect. I want to see you doing it. It's your effect that you pitched 7 years ago. I don't want to see a friend doing it. I'm going to base it on the video I've seen you do. If you've got another video of you doing it in a different way, that's fine. Send it me. But I can only base this. I'm not going to guess and go, well, you've got an alternate handling. I'm going to base it on the handling that you're using in your blog. I'm going to base it on the handling that you've put all over Facebook. That
how about
posted to show that it's different.
How about before we get into the handling, let's talk about the effect.
Okay.
Right? Aaron goes and performs that to Bobby G. Amanda goes and performs hers to Bobby G.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask Bobby G, what did those magicians do? Describe it as much detail as you can. They will both say, I selected a card. They produced a different card. They tore the card in half, and they tore the card as a gag, and then changed the pip of one half to mine.
So
both occasions. And in the end, I kept the 2 halves.
So are we talking effect? So we won't talk method, we'll talk effect.
We will talk method, but let's
start with
talk
method. We'll park method for a minute. We'll talk effect.
Yeah, let's start with the effect.
If we're going to talk effect,
yeah,
then neither you or Amanda should release your tricks, because there's 3 tricks that are almost identical to that. And I can send links right now. Yeah. Have you ever seen Divided by Jesse Feinberg?
He changes the
We have,
right?
So he has somebody pick a 5 of hearts. Yeah. He has it signed. Mm-hmm. Then takes a 10 off the top of the deck. He tears it in half. Yeah. As he's tearing it, you see that it's a 10. There's a really nice that shows a 10 as you tear it, and then they turn into 5s. So from an effect point of view, because we're not talking method, we're not talking method. It's very, very similar.
It's not the same. It's not the same. Diamond Cutter and Amanda's are the same.
No, they're not. Because Amanda's changed the moments with the in order to say they're
talking about the effect. We're starting with the effect. Let's be fair here.
Okay, well, if you're talking about effect, the effect of better half happens in the hands of the spectator. No, it does.
Initial video in 2014 happens in his hands once he does it visually by bluffing it. It's the same effect.
No, it's not.
Select the card.
That visual of the pip changing. It's not
really
it's not the same effect. Yeah, it makes it massively.
If you ask the spectator what happened, they're both gonna say they changed the pip and I saw it. You know, the effect is the same.
I personally think, Perseus, and it's only my opinion, but I
Yeah, I
personally
know.
think it's different. I personally think it's different because of the way that the handling is changed. It will play to a bigger group. It's a more visual
That's
moment
comes
like
to
that.
method. We're talking
Huh?
about. We're starting with the effect. The effect, if you describe both effects, is I selected a card. He produced a different card. He tore it as a gag, and then he changed the pip of one of the halves to mine. That's the
Have you ever
same to
seen
both,
have you
and he
ever
kept
seen
both
Ray
halves.
Cosby's?
That's the thing.
If you're talking about that,
Yeah.
have you ever seen Ray Cosby's trick?
Yeah, I have. I took permission from him in order to do my thing on Mini. Again,
Yeah.
it's not a. It doesn't change the pip. That's a restoration, and it changes the whole half. It doesn't change the pip.
Have you seen Full
Different
Circle
effect.
by Justin Miller?
No. What's the effect?
It's basically the same effect.
What's the effect? Not basically. What's the effect?
The effect is that you take a card, you tear it in half, which you will agree is a very old gag that's been done.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That whole tearing a thing in half, and then he takes the card. It's not the same method, but he takes the card, and from the audience's point of view, he changes one of the halves.
One of the halves or the pip.
One of the halves.
There you go. Different effect.
See, we're talking.
So no.
Okay,
We're talking about
okay. So let me ask you a question.
Both
Right.
effects, Dan
okay.
Cutter and Aaron's.
So let me ask you a question.
That changes.
So let me
makes
ask you
a difference.
Okay. So can we, as a Magic community, never release a trick if it's the same in effect to another trick? Should we stop? Should we immediately stop any card in mystery box style trick from coming out ever again? Because hang on, just one sec. Because how many card in boxes have there been where a folded up card ends up inside a? Should we have stopped at Caps? Should we have said, right, Caps did it first? Kennedy, whoever, Tommy Wonder, everyone else, they can't come anywhere. They can't do that.
Is this what we said? Did we mention her stop? Did we mention her not releasing her effect even once?
No, but but
we didn't.
No,
that's not what we were saying.
But it's all tied together because you're wanting a credit on a trick that's
original
before Aaron's trick.
By a company who could choose who would release it first. That's the nuance. That's where the problem is.
They look at it as a different effect. They look at it as a different effect and a different method. Yeah, because Kate, so let me ask you a question. And I don't even know why I'm asking this question actually, because I want to base it on the video I've seen. But in every video I've seen, Aaron, you tear the card with the face towards you. Can you hold the card with the face towards the audience, not cover any pips, because that's what Amanda does. She holds the card and she tears it in the middle, no covering of any pips, with the face towards the audience, that cleanly. Can you do that?
That's a subtlety. Exactly. That's a subtlety.
That's a subtlety.
You can tear it face up.
But
by covering one of
every video I've seen, I've never seen Aaron do that.
But you can do it by covering the pips, and there is very.
As I said, that video by my friend.
Me to
it doesn't buy
into something that I haven't seen. You know, we've got like multiple effects.
That's the thing. You're talking about method. We began talking about effect. You keep jumping on the method part.
The effect of a card with the face of the card facing the audience, tearing it in half, from an effect point of view on the audience is better than the back of the card facing the audience.
It's the same effect though.
And every single video I've ever seen,
it's the same effect though. It doesn't change the effect.
It's not the same.
Yeah, effect. It is. If I tell you I'm going to put this in my hand and vanish it, or I'm going to put this in my hand and vanish it, it's the same effect. I put the coin in this hand and vanish it. I did it differently. In one, you saw it, you swear it's in the hand. In the other one, you were not sure if I even took it or whatever. The effect is the same. You have, and I'll explain why. Excuse me. If you take both effects, they are based on a gaff, which you cannot find in the wild, right? You cannot go outside and go like, I want 27 of these. Nobody sells them. You have to make them. Okay. By ordering them, yes. By splitting and doing that horrible thing, yes. But there's no product out there that can give you a block of those to go them in form, because in the effect you need to tear a gaff. We've all, like you said, we've all played with gaff cards and misfit cards and all that, but are you going to tear it? or you're using it for effects that you can use it over and over again. Nobody tells them, because then you need another one and you cannot find those. Now, that's the main gaff. In order to do that effect, you need that gaff. Amanda added a subtlety. Now, if
No. I'm not going to have you trivialize that.
Let me finish. If you remove what Amanda added, you can still do the effect. Yes, you need to cover it. Yes, it's not going to be visual, it's going to happen in their minds, but someone could argue that the Selbit saw in half is much better than Chris Angel because it happens in the mind of the spectators. The thing is, if you remove her subtlety, you can still do both effects. You can still do the effect. If you remove the gaff, you can't do either. So if we're being, if we bring it down to numbers, let's say they're the same 90%, and she brought in something new that is 10%. I would say that's fair. And if you have the same effect 90%, isn't that enough to acknowledge that someone did the same thing or 90% of it before?
No, because it's not been published.
The company that chooses.
So you're saying that you should credit somebody?
Not credit. We're way past credit. We're looking for a fine print. Like, Aaron was here 2014. Yay. I mean, like, and by the way, just for everyone who's watching this, we've spoken with Penguin, and this is done. This is not going to change. They have made up their minds. They're not going to acknowledge it. So this is not us trying to convince them, trying to apply any pressure on them or the public. It's done. It's done. Aaron, you're never getting that acknowledgement, and we're okay with that. We respect it. We move on. That's the case. We're just talking because in the end, as you said, if I draw a 6 on the ground and you and me, Craig, sit on opposite sides, you're going to see a 9, I'm going to see a 6. We're both correct. We both believe in our heart of hearts that the number we're naming is the same. I'm seeing a 6, you're seeing a 9. And that's what it is. I mean, the one side truly, give me a second. One side truly believes that they're the same, and there's a slight addition to it, a slight subtlety. The other side believes with the heart of hearts that this subtlety changes the whole game, changes the whole thing. And I get it. It's a 6 and a 9. It's like the old, the old illusion with the dress that's black and blue and white and gold, Yeah.
Right.
What we're saying is that.
Yeah. Okay.
What we're saying is that.
Like, the thing is, and I call it like I see it, and I've got no dog in this fight. I genuinely think that this crusade that Aaron's on is paramount. No, it is. You're posting everywhere. Right. Tell me if this isn't a crusade. I saw this. I screen captured it because I wanted to say it. A couple of days ago, you posted, if you want to support me because you've ever found anything worthwhile about me, please comment a message of support saying something along the lines of, we stand with Aaron. Come on, Penguin, give him the acknowledgements. With enough social pressure, we can change things. Yeah. That's a crusade. He's everywhere rallying the troops, trying to get better. At this point, I'm calling it like I say it. Aaron, it's coming across as paramount to bullying with Penguin, because you're trying to get everybody in the community to post against them because they've got a different opinion about the effect to you, and they genuinely feel like they've done nothing wrong here.
That's not what happened, though. That's the way.
That's what he posted. That's what you posted, Aaron.
Where did he post it?
Do you want me to show you the screenshot?
No. Where did he post it? I'm asking you. Is it on Reddit?
Reddit. Yeah. There you go. Here you go. Let me just show it. There it is.
That's not Reddit.
Or wherever it is. Sorry. Yes, it is. It's Reddit.
No, it's not.
Sorry, it's Facebook. Facebook, sorry.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yes, it is.
Discord. It's Discord.
A very private Discord.
So, yeah. He owns a server and he has friends and people that agreed with him. He told them, guys, okay, I like the fact that you're agreeing with me, but in order for people to hear that, you need to go public.
Is that fair? Is that fair?
Yes, of course it is.
And not every, and like there's like 70 people, about 4 or 5 posted. and every person who posted with their own name.
Yeah.
And it's not
Putting
like
their name and
because
career
they
on the
like
line.
me because I'm a pretty boy that
No,
they went and
nobody
did it.
forced anybody. I mean, it's like it's their opinion because these guys were agreeing with Aaron behind closed doors. Like, yeah, I mean, they should just do it. And Aaron basically said, yeah, okay, I appreciate that, but can we do this publicly because I'm on my own here? And it's his friends. It's also magicians. They're not randos that put their name out and say, you know what? Yeah, I'll support you publicly. That's what
It's
happened.
like
That's not a crusade.
Listen. You keep talking about effect. We haven't even got back onto method yet. Let me ask you a question. You're saying that the effects are the same, and that's why he needs an acknowledgement.
Yep.
You put, and I've spoken to you about this off camera. You bought out the Medusa project, which I think is an amazing project, by the way, and you know I do. I use it. I think it's great. Take away the lighters and all of that bits and pieces. The main effect is a deck turns into a piece of stone, a stone block.
Okay, let's talk about the deck. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the deck turns into a stone block.
Yep.
I don't see anywhere on the ad copy on Orion any sort of credit or acknowledgement to Palmer Magic.
So
own the Omni deck. And what's the difference here? The difference is, so, you know, the difference with Amanda's, and we'll talk about method later on, is you got the same gaff card, but Amanda's added an extra visual moment to change that pip visually. There's one little thing. Yep. You've got the Omni deck, but you're turning it into stone.
No.
There's
the Omni deck, there's quite differences. Let's start with the differences. The Omni deck is a block of glass that, as a worker and as a performer and as a lover of magic, know that the only question that leaves in their mind is, where did that magician change the deck, switch the deck with that? My effect is basically an effect that's engraved. It's made out of stone. It convinces them that was the deck.
But we're talking about presentation. We're talking about presentation.
No, because the material is part of the presentation. Give me a second. I did send a message to Sean Farquhar. He didn't respond, and I put it out. If at any point Sean calls me out and goes like, "Hey, I mean, come on, it's the same effect. They both become solid." I will immediately put any acknowledgement he wants under the product. He hasn't. I sent him a message before releasing the effect. I go like, Sean, can I speak to you for a second? It's really something really important to me, and I think we should talk about this. No reply. I sent him another message. No reply. I'm like, well, if he sees it and doesn't like it, he'll let me know. I mean, that's how magic works, and I'll definitely make it right. But for the time being, because I wasn't influenced by the Omni deck, I had something completely different when I made the Medusa deck. I didn't feel like to credit a completely different effect to me again. But if he believes it's the same, I will, because that's the right thing to do.
Okay, because
but I mentioned it on the video. I mentioned Paul Harris's stock deck thingy. I mentioned the Omni deck on the explanation video. I mentioned
Solid Deception.
Solid Deception. There you go.
But both of those guys were first to market. They produced their trick before yours.
A different trick, but yeah.
Aaron never produced Better Half. It's never been,
because Penguin chose not to. That's the nuance. That's where the stars have aligned. And
because they didn't want the trick. And let's be honest, and I don't mean this in any negative way, so please don't take it this way, Aaron. When I saw the video from 2015, and I was a magic producer, I wouldn't produce it.
I would.
It's
fine. It's fine. That's an opinion. We don't mind that. It's fine. It's fine. It's like Penguin didn't want it. You wouldn't produce it. I saw it and saw it.
You know as well as me that a big part of producing a trick and making it a commercially viable success is that toy factor. Having some sort of toy factor to it, and having some sort of thing where you go, oh, that's clever, that's nice, oh, I can do that, that's really good, that's
depends.
Clever.
I would argue that it depends your audience, what kind of
No. Generally, as a rule, in the magic community, a trick will do better if it's got that toy factor that magicians can play with. You know as well that's the case.
I think if you're Penguin, that's what you want.
Oh no,
And
anywhere.
Perseus,
Aaron, without
I
being
think
funny, you're not in the community. You're not in the. You've just said yourself. You're not a creator. You don't know the industry. I've released 3 of the best-selling tricks of 2022: the Quantum Deck, Chop, and Keymaster, and all 3 of them had that toy factor to them. You take them out and you play with them, and you're like, "Oh, that's really clever. Oh, I can do this, or I can do this."
Again, that's not a given. That's not a given. When Week came out, and I actually sold that to Illusionist, not got any royalties. It was a buyout. It was a bestseller for weeks, and I was like, because it has a lot of crafts, and I was like, that was going to sell. I mean, I love the effect, but magicians, as you said, magicians just want the toy, or something ready to play, but people loved it. I mean, you'll never know what will sell. I mean, obviously, the more intricate the gimmick or the gaff or whatever is, the more chance it is that people are going to go like, a lot of the times, selling points in effects, which I don't like, are that the method is even better than the effect. And I hear that and I get migraines. But I get it. But is that enough that, I mean, how much percent you can add to an effect in order to call it a new one? That's the discussion. Because as I said, they're not changing their minds. They're not going to acknowledge Aaron. So
but the argument here is
done.
Amanda's is first to market. It was the first trick that was produced. It was produced before Better Half
By
and
Penguin.
Penguin made the decision because not based on gender, not based on physical appearance.
Don't believe that.
Not based on coolness.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's not based on any to that. It had to do.
As I told you, let's remove the 70 years. As I told you, if you show me a trick and I say, that's not for my company, man, it doesn't fit right, and then someone else comes along and shows me something similar with an addition, and go like, oh, I prefer that, or I forgot about yours, and go, yeah, I love that, and then you come back and say, dude, I mean, I've shown you a similar thing. Can you at least acknowledge me? And I turn to you and say, like, well, he was the first to publish. I don't have to acknowledge you, actually.
Here's the thing.
How would you feel? Be honest, because that's the exact scenario. You show me something, I forget about it, I dismiss it, I forget about it. Somebody else showed me something really similar, and I put it out. And you come to me and you say, hey, I showed you that like 5 years ago. And I go like, well, yeah, but he published it first. And you're going to say, rightfully, by you. You saw both. And you happen to choose them because of the time, because of whatever.
That sort of thing has happened to me before. We've spoken about this off camera. You know that scenario has happened to me before. And you know, as well as me as a creator, when you create magic, you just move on. You move on.
I move on. I don't know if it depends. It depends on the effect. Sometimes you move on. Sometimes you've put in so much passion, so much heart and soul in an effect that you go like, you know what? That's my baby. And I want to put it out. And when I put it out, I don't want a single soul coming and telling me that's basically Amanda Nipo's. I don't want that, because that's not. I created this on my own.
The thing, at this point, you've not wanted to talk about method. The fact of the matter, the crux of the argument from my point of view, is the method is substantially different.
Okay.
It really is.
Can we at least talk about method without giving away much?
Okay. And I'm not gonna give it away much at all. Okay. But what I am gonna say, and I'm gonna base it, I really don't want to hear, oh, but I've got a different handling, or my friend does it this way. I don't care. Everything that we're working on here are videos that Aaron has put out to prove his point. I'm basing it on those videos. And based on those videos, here are the clear, distinct differences. Based on those videos, number one, with Amanda's routine, once the card is lost in the deck, I can cleanly take the top card off and show it very, very cleanly. I don't have to do a turnover or anything like that. I can cleanly take the card off, number one. Number two, I can then very cleanly, showing the whole face of the card, tear it with the face towards the audience. Number two. I then don't have to do the piece. I put the pieces together and do any sort of move at that point. Once the tear is done, I can immediately be in this position with the hands out in front of me. And then I can take the piece and I can show it, and they see that it's a particular card. I can rub the indices with my hands empty. I can get right up into their face and I can show it's changed. And immediately with my hands empty, I can give them that card.
No, you cannot do it with your hands empty, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, I can.
No.
I can. No, I'm not going to get offended. Yeah.
That's the thing. We're not talking. Again, we're talking about subtleties. Yeah, I know.
Hands empty. Okay. Yeah. You can hand them the card.
Okay.
That for me is why I gave a quote to the product.
That is not method. That's handling.
No. Oh, come on. Now we're talking semantics. The handling.
Yes, and we have to talk semantics.
And I know that on Facebook and on the Magic Cafe, you've dismissed Amanda's addition, and you've actually said, Aaron here has actually said, and I can punch it up. He said that it takes the effect a step backwards.
Yeah, and that was a mistake.
What Amanda has added to the effect, well, she hasn't added it because she wasn't even aware of your effect. But what Amanda's method allows you to do, the addition to what Aaron does, you guys are saying is a step backwards.
We're not
saying it's a step backwards. We never said step backwards. We said it's less workable to us.
Yeah, we're not.
You actually did say step backwards.
Yeah, that is probably you did, Aaron. I don't remember, but you were really.
If you want to, I'll pause the video. I'll get it up and I'll show it you. I really can't be bothered, but you
maybe he has, but again, this is not the discussion. I really want to make clear this is not us. We're not going to bash Amanda's method. I think she has a wonderful trick. I love it. I want to produce it basically, and this is not about comparing which one is better, right? This is not the discussion. Now we're talking about the similarities between the effects. The effects are, to us, 90% similar. Now, what you were talking about is the handling. You were talking about the counts and the turnovers and all that. If we're talking about, again, it depends. Are you trying to fool magicians or spectators? I mean, the spectator would see you showing the card, tearing the card, changing the pip. That's what they were going to remember. They're not going to go like, but he did a frustration count. It's like
I completely disagree. I completely disagree.
I know.
2 points. One, it's not handling, it's method. Because that's what, when you read a trick in a book, let's take Mosaic, for example. When you're talking about now do a double lift, now do an Elmsley count, now do a frustration count, that comes under method. You don't go, okay, this is the method. Now, by the way, this is the handling. The handling is the method.
I'm calling it handling because,
but it's not. You're calling it handling to further your argument, but it is the method because the method is the crux of the problem. The method is substantially different. If the method is substantially different enough,
what you call the method is not essential. That's the thing. The thing that's essential is the gaff. I can, and excuse me, I can go. Is that your card?
Nope.
No? I got 2 of your card. Actually. And then change it. I don't have the gaff right now, but I hid one of the pips throughout all this. Whoever, and that's included something along those lines, that shows that the method, the doubles, the are not essential. That's not the method. That's a handling.
They are. No.
What's essential is the gaff and how you use it. That you have to tear it, you to hide the
extra gaff that is part of
subtlety.
And not part. It's not a subtlety. Don't dismiss her.
The addition.
No, that's no. I'm not going to accept that. You're completely dismissing.
I'm not dismissing.
Because honestly, I think that the application of what she does there, including the way that she does it, other people are going to take that on board and use it. I thought that part was absolutely genius. And honestly, when I reviewed it, we're not talking about if it's good or bad. Moment, I wouldn't have given the quote. It was that moment. Let me ask you a question, Perseus. If you were going on TV, if you were going on television, and you wanted to do this effect, honestly, be honest, and the camera's going to come right up close. Yeah. You use the way that Amanda does it. Be honest. Please be honest.
I swear that I would do Aaron's psychological version, where the spectator does it in the mind, and I can talk about there are two halves. There, the realistic one, the cynic, I know the Greek word. What's the cynic?
The cynical side of
The
them.
cynical side or the
Side that
romantic
holds them
side
back.
that can allow you to make a change. I would do that because to me that's amazingly much stronger than any visual.
Okay, I
When
think
something happens in here, and
if I was going on TV, I would do Amanda's method because
I know,
and
and again, my
Fair enough,
friend,
mate.
again, it's 6 and a 9. You
yeah,
see the
but the
same
thing
thing from
is,
different angles.
you're talking about this as a subtlety. This is the crux of the problem. For me, this is method, and methodologically, this is a different product. It's massively different enough.
No,
for
it's not massively
Penguin
different.
to be
Come on.
within the rights to say no to Aaron and yes to Amanda for
Not
a
massively
variety of
different.
different reasons.
It's not massively different though. If you
Craig,
remove that addition, that whatever you want to call it, you can still do the effect. If you remove the gaff, you can't do either. The addition is not what makes this what it is.
Craig,
An effect. It's the
Yes,
gaff
Aaron?
that makes an effect.
Craig, have you ever heard of the ship of Theseus argument? The ship of
Have you
Theseus
ever done
thought
what? Sorry?
experiment. Have you ever heard of the ship of Theseus thought experiment?
No.
Well, it's a thought experiment where if you take every single piece of a ship and then the boards rot, so you take that piece out, you take each piece out, and then you build that ship from new board. Is that the same ship? You replace each board one by one as the boards rot. So you take out one board, replace with a new board. Eventually, the ship is replaced completely with different pieces of wood. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that still the same ship at that point? That's the original thought experiment. The way we see it is kind of like a ship of Theseus. There's a ship. Each piece is taken apart. It's put back together. But now they've added they've taken an extra piece of wood and they've added like a figurehead. And some people think it's the most beautiful figurehead they've ever seen. In fact, some people think that figurehead sells the entire boat. But to us, it's still the same boat, but with a figurehead attached to it. Does that make sense?
I understand the point that you're making, but I think it trivializes
No,
Amanda's
we're not
creation.
we're not trying to trivialize anything. We think, and again, we truly believe that it was an independent creation. And that says a lot about Amanda's mind, Amanda's creativity. Because to me, I saw that effect from Aaron and I loved it. And then I saw it from Amanda. If I haven't seen Aaron's and I saw Amanda's, I would do the same. I would love it, right? Because basically the same trick. So that says a lot about her imagination, about her creativity. This is not about trivializing. And the fact that she added that visual moment and all that, that's awesome. Again, for people that want to perform into TV, for people that, desperately want to show the pip change. We get it. That's awesome. But if you break it down, that's what it is a 10% addition to an effect. The whole effect is the same, and you're adding
No. The
something
thing
extra.
is, that's your opinion that it's a 10%.
Absolutely.
10%
Again,
edition.
absolutely.
But from my point of view, and I am really impartial in this, let's not forget, it's not like it's my bloody trick. It's not like I even know Amanda for Adam. It's not like I've got a dog in the fight when it comes to Penguin. And obviously, I know you as well as I know Sean Dunn. I've got no dog in this fight. But from the outside, looking in, having seen Amanda's tutorial, I performed Amanda's trick in the real world because I didn't give a quote to Penguin. They wanted a quote, and I said, "Well, I'm going to perform it first. I want to see it. I want to check it out. I want to see if it, and then I'll give you a quote." So I've performed this trick. I've performed Diamond Cutter at several gigs, and it gets a great reaction. And how I do it is I do it at a big table, and I frame this moment. So when I take the card out and I do the gag, and I've got the 2 5s, I throw the one half away. I go, "You guys are a tough audience. You really are, aren't you? You're such a tough audience." Okay, I'll tell you what, if I was a real magician, I could do this. Watch this moment right here. Because if I just do this, 3, 2, 1. That's as close to real magic as you're going to get. And then I give it them back. My hand is empty.
Yeah.
And for me, every person on that table sees that moment right there. For me, as an impartial person, Amanda's method or handling or subtlety or whatever the hell you want to call it allows me to do that moment, which I cannot do
as a worker. I get it. As a worker, though, answer me honestly. If I gave you Aaron's gaff and told you, I want you to go to perform that table, do it this way, hide it when it's needed and all that, do all our subtleties. When you leave, can you convince them that I saw the pip and he definitely changed it? Can you do that? Of course you can.
Yes,
of course you
take
can.
any trick and I can make it half decent.
That's the thing.
I have to be honest, based on the performance I saw back in 2015, it was very uninspiring.
That's a different thing. That's not.
And that's not a diss on you, Aaron. So please don't take it that way. It's.
No, I agree. I'm a way better performer than I even was then.
And again, but that's the thing. That's if any magician goes and performs the same both effects in the table, in the end, you can definitely get the same reaction and the same narrative. If you ask them what they did, they're gonna say they tore it in half, and they changed the pip in front of our eyes.
Yeah, but we keep going back to effect.
Yeah,
but the crux of this is method, and for me, it's more than a 10% addition.
How much is it? All right, how much is it? How much addition?
Well, you can't even call it an addition because it's an independent creation. You can't really say, "Oh, this is an addition," because it's an independent creation.
If
we don't know the thought process
if we agree that there are similarities, the effect that the gaff is the same, that the premise is the same, and all that, how much of an addition?
Based on the video I've seen of Aaron doing it, I would say 50%. And I'll tell you why. There's three reasons. And I'm basing this on the video I've seen. Number one, I can based on the video
I know your points. You
I can cleanly take the card. No. Number one, I can cleanly take the card off the top of the deck. Very, very cleanly. Very cleanly.
Do you think that's not clean?
Well, based on the video I saw, I don't want to get into method, but it looks like he was doing a double lift to show a 10, and then he was taking off a gaffed card. That's what it looks like in the video. So, yeah, I can cleanly take off a card without having to do a double lift. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can cleanly take off the card. That's the first difference for me. Number two, I can show the card very, very freely as I'm talking. Now, I know that with subtlety, you can do the same, but I haven't seen that on the videos that I've watched of Aaron do. I know there's 4.5 hours of tutorial, but I haven't seen that. And that's what I'm basing it on. I can show the card very freely. Now, my style as a performer is to talk and, banter if you want to. So I like having the ability to show the card there as I joke around and blah, 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 without fear of having to hide anything or turn the card towards me or do anything at all. I can be really clean. I can even have them hold their hand out and put the card face up in their hand at that point with a small amount of audience management. And that is very easy to do. Then I can take the card back. And I couldn't do that, by the way. I couldn't put a card face up into a person's hand with Aaron's method. There's no subtlety in the world that will allow me to cleanly take the card off the deck and put it face up in their hand and have the whole surface showing.
You can if you
leave it there while I'm
version. That's a version.
I wouldn't know because again,
that's on the video.
Based on video,
that's on the videos. The version he doesn't have and puts both halves on their hand. Actually,
but I'm talking about putting a face up card.
One of them is face up, and that that's enough for them to convince them.
Yes, I know, but you can't have it both ways. You asked me what I prefer about this.
Okay.
I like having a card that I haven't torn go face up on their card.
I didn't ask you what you prefer. I know what you prefer. I asked you what are the differences.
That's a big difference.
That's a preference.
Being able to have that card there.
That's a preference.
No, that's a big deck. Having the card face up in their hand, taking the card cleanly off the top of the deck, one, putting it into their hand as I talk, two,
Is that part of? Is that part of it? That's how she does it. That's the effect.
Well, she
You
talks
put it
about that.
on you. No. Do you put them on their hands and talk? That's part of the method.
No, she talks about that in the tutorial, that you can do that. You can put it.
We're not talking about the tutorial, are we? That's the thing. We're not talking about what you can do. We're talking about what the effect is. Let's see what the trailer is. All right. What's the effect? What you do, what you're selling. I mean, you're not accepting what we have in 4.5 hours. So
the difference is I've seen a tutorial. I haven't said, if you want, like, again, if you want to pause this and send it me, I will review the whole 4.5 hours, and then we can pick this up in 4.5 hours time. I've got no problem doing that.
We can certainly do that.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. But at the moment, I have seen the tutorial for Diamond Cutter. Okay. I haven't seen any tutorial for Better Half. But all I'm saying is, you asked why is it 50%? 1, I can cleanly take the card off the top of the deck. 2, I can put the card down. I can even do something else with that card if I want to. Because of how the card works and because of the methodology behind the card, I could even take that 5. I could, or whatever it is, I could take it, because it's not a 5 with Mandas. I could take another 3 cards. I could have a 4 of a kind, and using that gaff card, I could do twisting the aces. I can do anything I want at that point. Not that I would, but you could do that. Then you can tear the card very cleanly down the face without hiding anything towards the audience. And then finally, you can have them focus on this part, and you can do the pip changing.
That's basically 10%. All the other things are handling. But yeah,
you're
saying 50%. You're saying 50%. So
in my opinion,
you end up, you're saying 50%. So how much percent do you think it's enough to acknowledge someone? Not credit, because again,
I'll tell you. I don't think that you should acknowledge somebody when you're the first to market. If you're the first to market,
come on, Craig.
Better Half has not been. You know, I think this. I'm not gonna. Why would I lie?
Because you're neglecting a really serious fact that the company that is dissing, it's not acknowledging the originator, because the other one published it first, is the publisher that had the power to publish either. But
they chose not to, because
I get it.
For various different reasons, they chose not to, because the performance was uninspiring. They chose not to because there wasn't anything particularly. You saw something in the trick, great.
Yeah,
I didn't. Vanishing Ink didn't. Penguin didn't. Illusionist didn't. Whoever else. You saw something in it that nobody else saw.
Absolutely.
Penguin's decision to not take this
is respectable completely.
Absolutely.
Completely.
Their decision to take Amanda's and not acknowledge is also
no. In the end, it is. In the end, it is, because, as I said, they made up their minds. I had a talk today with them. They're not going to do it, whatever happens. So it's done. So this is we're just talking here, right?
Yeah,
it's not going to happen, and we're fine. We moved on. All right.
Right.
Actually,
no. But we haven't moved on.
Actually, I need to say that. I stopped responding to the thread on Facebook, because I did respond sometimes.
But is Aaron still going on? Because also, one of the things about this is, we've talked about Amanda a little bit, but this is not fair on Amanda. This is her first, it's not her first release, we talked about that, but it's probably her first major release with a big company. As a physical product. It's the first big physical product that she's released.
And she was never the target of it.
No, but imagine how she feels right now, because she's got the entire Magic community debating back and forth about what's going on. Penguin have actually come out. I'm just looking at Mandy's post, Mandy Hartley's post on Magicians Only, where she's replying to Aaron, and she says, we brought your request to Amanda and her mother, but they did not want to add marketing blurb to your product on Diamond Cutter. We left that decision up to them and ultimately respect their decision. So I know you think that Penguin should have advised them not to do that, but from their point of view, her mother has probably had a say in that decision. So her mother has probably said, hey, Amanda, no, I don't think we should do this, blah, 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 whatever. Her name is getting, like, debated.
Getting what? It's getting nothing.
Well, it is, because
No.
it's at this point, it's
not
basically
about Amanda.
diamond cutter versus better half.
It's not about Amanda or her trick. I promise you, with all this happening, they probably sold a couple more. This is not about it. And the fact that Mandy mentions that that's a marketing ploy or whatever, marketing blurb, that's outrageous. And I chose not
The
to
only
respond.
reason Andy's getting involved in this, by the way, is because Aaron is posting everywhere, and somebody had to reply.
No, I get it, but don't, anyway, I'm not going to get into that. As I said, they made up their minds. We accepted that. We moved on. It's done.
Have you moved on though, Aaron?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's nothing that can be done at this point. But it is what it is, my friend.
Yeah.
So, are you still going to continue to post on Facebook about this?
No, as Perseus, I have not replied to any of those messages. I'm not going to reply to anything further. The only thing
It's only a day ago.
The only thing I've added since then is when you asked me to tag you just now.
Right. Okay. The last post you made was 1 day ago.
We spoke today with Penguin, and they basically told us there's nothing in the world that can change your mind. We're not doing this. So we're like, cool. That's
For me, that was 2 days ago because time zones. But
so
yeah. But
so do you think that, because I've got something that I want to suggest in a minute, but do you really think that, like, we should start as a community acknowledging tricks that haven't been published?
I think
if they can provide proof.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Give me a second, because I'm not entirely agreeing with you, because the proof is really, we are in this crossroad, right? The thing that happened with Aaron's effect and the Penguin release is a really once in life. I mean, the stars aligned to that. The effect was so similar. It was the same company that saw both. It was, and again, proof of that is that, have you heard any similar case before? No. All the cases you hear is like people wanting direct credit because I released mine bike and the blah blah blah, or I had mine in my lecture notes or whatever. That's basically the case. This is really rare, but it did happen. And so that's what I think the discussion should be about. Like, where do we draw the line? Where do we acknowledge someone? And to me, I don't think if I produce an effect and someone says to me, I created this back in 2000 and here's the YouTube video, I would definitely tell them, well, bummers. I didn't know that, so I wasn't influenced by that. So good luck with your next idea. But this is not the case. This is not about giving proof that I had the same idea. This is like, it's so nuanced. It's so the fact that it's the same company that saw both effects, released one of them, and then told the other that, well, now it's released. It's like they released it first. It's like with you. It's like you saw. That's what I'm saying. It's like there are too many details that came into place to create all this. I'll call it just storm, and won't add the first part, but it happened. And again, we have no blood with Penguin. Again, I not individually. I mean, I love Sean, I love Eric, I love Nickel Capo. All the people at Penguin have treated us with me personally with more than just respect when I went over there and all that. And the Penguin as a company has made amazing releases. It's one of my favorite ones, if not the favorite one. But that's not the case. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a very specific, really rare thing that just happened. The damn stars did align, and this happened. So what do we do? And obviously we're not doing anything. So it's not that's going to happen. So we move on. But should we talk about the fact, okay, what if that happens again? What happens with the next guy that says, you know what? I did submit that to you 3 months ago, and you released it with something similar with that guy. What should the company do? I mean, that's the important discussion. As I said before, it's the blue, black dress, white, yellow. It's the 6 on the floor where we both sit from opposite sides. You see a 9, I see a 6. We both are right. Even though we should ask the one who drew it what he wanted to draw.
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. It just seems like a very slippery slope to be in that situation. I mean, you know,
And nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. I mean, Amanda's effect, and we really hope it goes well. It's a wonderful effect. We're going to release Aaron's effect, and we really hope it goes well. Nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to. And as we said, because Mandy, as you said, mentioned the marketing blur. This is not our marketing. When we release ours, this has been long forgotten, and so it's like there's nothing we can do. Aaron did what he could. I stood up for him because I care about him, and as a friend and as an artist.
And to be honest, that's why I'm getting involved. Well, I got involved in this because Aaron messaged me. That's the reason I got involved. I didn't even know about this until I got a message. But I'm taking the viewpoint that I am because, and again, it's only my opinion from my point of view. I don't think that Penguin have done wrong. And if I genuinely, Perseus, and you know I'm very ethical. You know I am. If I was running Penguin, well, first of all, I'd probably have a heart attack by now. I don't know how they do it. But if I was running Penguin, and I had this situation, I would probably play it exactly the same way they have. Genuinely.
I wouldn't. Even to me, if I was Penguin, which I'm not, obviously, and this happened, and in my heart of hearts, I thought it was complete. This changed the game, and it's completely different effects. I would probably say, you know what? There are some. I would turn to my artist and call it. You know what? There are some. It's just a line of text. Can we just put it in fine print and just get away with call it a day? I would do it. I would probably do it. Now, again, like you said, this is your honest opinion. This is our honest opinion. We're seeing the same number from opposite sides, different numbers, but it's one design, and it's completely respectable. Completely respectable. The problem is, at some point we need to draw a line. We need to, we respect your opinion. You respect Aaron's opinion.
Yeah.
So how do we deal with this in the future? What happens in the next time that a company has received similar effects and they choose to release one?
Well, I think you have to take it on a case-by-case basis. I mean, this is very different. It's a 7-year gap. Half of the people...
Well, it's not, because Aaron reminded them before they released the effect. So,
but after it was put on the Penguin line. Yeah. The point is, it was 7 years from initial submission.
Yeah, that
7 years ago, half of the people that work in the creative team at Penguin weren't even there. Eric wasn't there. Nick wasn't there.
I know.
Half of the people, half of the people weren't there. Yeah. It could have been a decision made by somebody who's now going off doing something else. It could have been that, you never know. You never know.
That's why Aaron reminded them. And that's why we say, and we truly believe, they don't remember it. They didn't remember it. We get it. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. That doesn't mean that trick wasn't submitted and turned down. And that happened.
Yeah, and we're going round and round in circles now. And there's no point going round and round in circles again. But it's from Penguin's point of view, I believe, at least as far as I can see, they look at it as a different method. And I think that's the crux of the problem. You don't look at it as a different method. You look at it as a slightly different handling stroke subtlety. They look at it
an addition, a 10% addition.
They look at it as and Sean and Mandy wouldn't lie. They don't need to do that. I don't
know Mandy, but I know Sean, and I trust him.
I know Mandy. They wouldn't lie. They wouldn't. There's no point. I've been to Penguin twice. I've worked on their booth at Magic Live. They are so ethical, and they've helped me in many ways that they didn't need to. So I genuinely believe that. I genuinely believe they genuinely look at it, as do I, as a different handling and a different effect. So they made the decision to publish it because they felt it was different enough, and they didn't even remember the original submission until Aaron got in touch with them. But before that, they didn't even remember that submission, and they look at it as a different. So the question is, if you believe that Sean and Penguin genuinely aren't lying, and they believe that the method is different, and they believe that the effect is different, if you had that same belief, if you believe that the effect and the method were different, and you're in the same situation where it was submitted to you 7 years before and you forgot and you didn't know and blah, 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 blah. But then the new trick comes and gets submitted and it's a different, in your opinion,
mind, yeah.
It's a different effect and it's a different method. Would you do what Penguin have done?
So I wouldn't, for two reasons.
Even if you believed it was a different effect and a different method.
For two reasons. First reason, even if you do believe that it's completely different, you can't disagree there are similarities. And the gaff is identical. Let's start with that. So
it's not identical because you're using a 10 and 5.
Yeah, we realize it. But yeah, the gaff is you know what it is. There's a different card, right? Mm-hmm. There are definitely strong similarities, in the least. If I was Penguin, which is basically one of the biggest, if not the biggest magic company in existence, and I had Aaron / nobody / Ducker on the other side, and the effects were like a little bit similar, I'll go, come here, okay, what do you want us to put? That's what they did. What do you want us to put? Like how show us a statement. Now he's a screenwriter. He wrote this paragraph or whatever, which was probably, I mean, obviously they wouldn't put that. But to that, you should have gone, all right, this is horrible. This is never going to be in there. How about we just put your name with the 2014 on the bottom? And he would go like, yeah, sure, I'm fine.
Yeah, sure, why
not? So that's the thing. You negotiate. You don't just...
I think, and I haven't spoken to Penguin about this, so this is
the thing. Because that's the thing. They asked for a statement. That's what he wrote. He didn't wrote like just put that verbatim. Let's talk about this. You know, that's something along those lines. And it was their right to go like, oh, well, that's crap. No, let's try something less. So in the end, and I promise you that, in the end, we told them, just put in the bottom of a product, a similar effect was submitted to us by Aaron Ducker in 2004. A similar effect. That's a slight acknowledgement. That's not even
in 2015. You mean?
In 2015, sorry. That's what we asked, and said nope.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
And
they won't budge.
This is genuinely, and I know that's.
I would have put it. If I was Penguin, and it was like I was this empire, and I had Aaron Toowoomba Ducker, I would go like, yeah. Let's spell his name in the first letter of the paragraph. That would be fine. He'll be fine. He would probably say, yeah, that's fine.
Right. You know as well as me, putting that acknowledgement in the
doesn't change.
It wouldn't affect any sales for Penguin at all. I get that, but I think the reason they've not done it, and we're saying that Penguin aren't ethical. I think the reason they're doing it, and I think I haven't spoken to them, so I don't know. I think there's two reasons. I think the first reason is what they've said openly, which is they spoke to Amanda. They've left the decision to Amanda, and Amanda said no, and
they shouldn't.
I know, but I believe that they've done that. I believe that they've reached out to Amanda. I believe they've asked Amanda. Amanda said no, and they've respected that decision. And from their point of view, they've done the ethical thing by asking Amanda. Okay. You disagree, and you think that they should advise her because they're the biggest magic company. Okay, fine. They feel that they did the right thing, and also
that's fair.
And I also haven't spoken to Penguin about this, but I think the other element here is that they've not done it because they don't want to set a precedent, because this could be a slippery slope. It starts with putting a little putting a little note on an ad copy, going, "Oh, by the way, this was submitted."
A similar effect.
Yeah, similar effect was submitted in 2015. Huh? You know as well as me, from little acorns, big oak trees grow. So, could someone, where will that lead? Could that lead to somewhere else when down the line it allows people to release tricks that are almost identical in method? Do you know what I mean? But
that's the problem with them not acknowledging that. The only way we can go from there is people releasing similar effects, not giving a shit about crediting. Especially these days where people are just basically learning out of YouTube and TikTok. And they do stuff and go like, oh, you know who made that? No, I don't. A friend of mine showed it to me. They don't know jack. I mean, they don't. I'm trying really hard not to swear. I'm really bad at this. And so they don't know originators, creators, and all that, which is like, and if you're not acknowledging that something similar was submitted by us in 2015, then the only thing you can go from there is, okay, so I can publish whatever the hell I want and not acknowledge anything similar. Cool. I don't know. And again, this is, to be fair, this is not even about Penguin anymore. It's like, this is done. They made their choice, and we respect it. It's fine. We tried. We talked. Aaron exploded online. He tried.
Yeah, and I don't want people.
Nothing happened.
And I only did that when I felt I had been backed into a corner and there was no other way out.
I know.
I didn't need this in my life, man.
Right, here's the thing. I have some advice for you, Aaron. Couldn't give Perseus advice, he's perfect, but I'm going to give some advice. And you know, I feel bad for Penguin. They've done a lot for me, and I see people saying, "Oh, Penguin are evil," and blah blah blah. And so, no, genuinely, seriously, over the last couple of weeks, I know they've had a whole bunch of crap going their way because of this, and you know, I know it because I've seen.
As a consumer, I love Penguin, man.
Yeah, I know, but you know, so do I. They're my favorite magic shop. I spend way too much. I hope my wife's not watching.
Yeah.
I spend. No, she wouldn't watch this crap. I spend way too much there. I'm a big fan of Penguin. I really am. And I don't want people to turn against them. And it felt like for a long time, until Sean spoke out, it felt like there was nobody fighting Penguin's side. And I think I understand why. As a big company, you kind of want to remain silent, don't you? When it happens with a lot of companies, you know, when there's bad press about a particular company, they just remain silent. You know, it's kind of like they don't roll their sleeves up and try to defend their corner a lot of the time. It just tends not to happen. And I felt kind of really bad because so many posts on the cafe and so many posts on Facebook were like, grab your pitchforks, Penguin, you suck. And it's like, I've seen them do stuff that's so ethical. And I've seen them do stuff that's so nice. And it's almost like everybody forgets that when something bad happens. You know, when
again, most of those comments don't reflect Perseus or my point of view, that they posted every one of those posts as individuals.
Absolutely. I mean, and again, you know how magicians can be. You know, people see drama in whatever form. They grab the pitchfork, they grab their torches, and it's always the bad guy, the big guy's fault. It's Goliath. David and Goliath, which in this case kind of is, but they're not. Again, I'm not saying they're bad guys. I'm saying that it's just Aaron's word against biggest magic company. It's like people get, you know, it's easy to knock on the big tree. You know, it's easier to hit. You know, they're the man. They're the big guys. You know, they can do it. You know, they chose not to. We're fine with that. It's like we did what we could do. Well, there's no but blood. I mean, I still feel that Aaron is being wrong. He's being wronged, but we did what we could, and it's fine.
You know, I've been wronged by magic production companies in the past.
Well, Ben.
I've released stuff in the past that I've never even been paid for. I've released stuff in the past where it's then been sort of released separately without even my knowledge. So I understand where you're coming from. The advice I've got for you, Aaron, so let me ask you a question. Do you want to be a magic creator? Would you like to be, you talked about creating stuff for your show. I'm not talking about Penguin now. I'm talking about, would you like to be a magic creator? Would you like to have a name within the magic community as somebody who creates and releases products that other magicians use?
The reason I want to put stuff to market is because I've taken a lot from the magic community and I want to give back. That is why I want to be a magic creator.
Okay.
It's not
that's what every single magic creator says.
That's the thing. Hear him out, because he means it. That's what.
Yeah, that's fine, and that's great, and that's lovely, and that's wonderful. Do you want to be a magic creator? Would you like to have a series of releases coming out over the next few years? Have your products on dealers' stands, so when you walk into a shop, your name's there on a box. Would you like to be, you know, would you like to, I'm not saying being famous as a creator, would you like to release products? Because if you do, this is not a trick question. If you do, I've got some advice for you. I'm just trying to find out, there's no point in giving this advice. If you don't want to be, if this is just a one-shot deal and then you're done, then there's no point. But if you are wanting to be,
I mean, if anyone's interested in anything else I've got, sure. Why
so
not?
it's something that you'd like to do.
Yeah.
You'd like to have that as a string to your bow.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like the only thing I want to do, but sure, why not?
I'm not trying to trick you here. This is not a trick question.
No, I know, man.
Just trying to find out. So you would like to release products at some point in the future. You've obviously got this coming out with Orion in 2023. Great company. Here's my advice. Okay, as somebody who's released a lot of magic, there's some advice that I can give you. The first piece of advice is just try not to, and it's very difficult. And also, I'm going to come across as slightly hypocritical giving this advice, but I'm gonna give it anyway. Try not to get involved in magic drama, okay? And don't burn bridges, because you never know when you need the people that you are burning the bridges with. Now, I know you've got nothing against Penguin. I believe that.
Penguin doesn't have anything against Aaron.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But what I'm saying is, just don't burn bridges. If you've got an issue, my advice would be to just keep it offline and just try and deal with it privately, and just try not to.
And we tried.
But then just move on, because you seem like a very creative person. You've talked about creating your own show, and every year you create more magic, which is the thing that most people struggle with. Most creators, and Perseus will tell you this, the biggest problem that they have is coming up with inspiration and actually having the ability to create. You can obviously create, we know this. You've spoken about how many shows that you've put together, and this and that and the other, and so on and so forth. So the thing that most creators struggle with, you don't have a problem with that, which is amazing. I can't tell you how many people would like to be in your position. There's so many people that I speak to on this channel, and they say to me, how do I create? And they've sat there for 10 years with a pen and a piece of paper, and they can't come up with a single idea. It's very rare to find somebody who can get an idea and actually see it through to the point that it's ready to put out. So it's great. You're in a situation where you're way further beyond than a lot of people. So the advice that I give you is, one, just be the person that everybody wants to work with. I may get involved in drama on my YouTube channel, but if you speak to any production company I work with, and I work with a lot of them, they'll tell you that I'm an absolute dream to work with, because I just do exactly what I'm told, and I just get it done, and I deliver everything that I need to deliver, and it's always the case. So first of all,
Perseus can speak to my work ethic as well.
I know. I'm sure that you can.
Absolutely.
I also know that Perseus wouldn't work with you if he didn't, see something in you, which is great. So just focus on that, and also just when you're pitching a product. Now, you're working with Perseus on this. If you continue to create, you might carry on working with Perseus on other projects. I'm sure you will. But at some point down the line, you might want to work.
I'm going to give him first look on everything, because I love this man.
No, and that's great. And I was involved in World Magic Shop for a very long time. And 15 years ago, I said, I'll never work with another production company. I'm only ever going to work with World Magic Shop. And in the last year, I've worked with Murphy's, I've worked with Penguin, I've worked with Alakazam, all of them. So you never know where you're going to be. You never know. You never know. But all I'm trying to say, I'm not saying don't work with Orion. What I'm saying,
I'm saying, I brought things to Perseus. He goes, I don't like that. Like, I've got a Monty routine. It's like, I don't like that. I just show off his stuff.
Yeah. But the point I'm trying to make is, when you're pitching somebody, and this is the big piece of advice I can give you, when you're putting a pitch to somebody who's not Perseus, because Perseus knows you, but when you're putting a pitch to somebody, try your absolute best to make that trick look as good as you can possibly make it look, because you've only got one chance to make a first impression. The video that I saw from 2015 was not a good video.
It wasn't. I agree.
No, but I'm just giving you some advice here. Instead, take some time over it, make it look really good. These days, you can get an iPhone and you can go down to a local bar and you can do it on somebody. Just make it look as good as it can look. I genuinely think that if you'd actually have got a better video all those years ago and you'd sent it to Penguin, because they actually sent you that message back, didn't they? Saying, hey, we just want a live performance. Then you probably would have released this trick 7 years ago. So whenever you're pitching somebody and you're sending them a video of the effect, make it so that it's crystal clear and show them how good it is. You know, it's the old expression, be so good that they can't ignore you. You know, that's the biggest piece of advice I can give you. Be so good that they just can't ignore you. You know, they don't want to go anywhere else because it's you that they want. That's what you need to do. Stand head and shoulders above everybody else. Yeah,
I completely agree with that advice, my friend.
and I've spoken to Perseus, and you know, obviously, it's there's nothing you can do about Penguin, and I don't, you know, as I say, we've been down that route. We're not going to go to it again. I don't think they've done anything wrong, but I said in my video that went up on Friday, if I were you, I wouldn't release the trick. I've changed my mind on that. I think you should release it. But what I think you should do is not focus on the main effect. If I were you, I'd try to make it, and Perseus will know this as well as me. If you've genuinely got 4.5 hours of material already, and you've got other contributors coming on and teaching their methods and so on and so forth, I
should clarify something. I shot 4.5 hours. I don't think the tutorial is 4.5 hours. We haven't edited the footage yet.
But
generally, most of my tutorials are 4.5 hours long.
But we have stuff from other people as well, and different effects in the project.
I would really kind of lean into the fact that this is, I would refer to this as a project instead of a trick.
And we do.
Yeah, but that's what I do. So it's no longer better half the trick, because that's what you've kind of said all on the socials. Hey, this trick is similar to my trick. This trick is, forget about the fact that it's one trick. Treat it as a project. Because you haven't referred to it as a project anywhere on social media or the cafe anywhere. Start getting into your head that this is a project, and focus on the fact that there's multiple routines that you can do with this gaff, whether you give them 1 gaff, 2 gaffs, 10 gaffs, 15 gaffs, 20 gaffs.
The only way, and the only reason we didn't talk about the rest of the versions of it is because this is not a marketing ploy. It's the better half effect that we were worrying about and we were talking about throughout all that thing. But
and all the bonus effects were relevant to our point.
But this is just advice on how to market it from somebody who reviews more products than anybody else on the planet and constantly releases tricks. Refer to it as a project. Highlight the differences, because the fact of the matter is, and this is something you're going to have to accept, Amanda's got Diamond Cutter out and it's not going to go anywhere. So how do you make it different to Diamond Cutter? You make it different by showing that it's not a one-trick pony, because Amanda's it's a one-trick pony. It's a very good pony, but it's a one-trick pony. Make yours highlight the fact that you've got multiple creators coming on board, and that you've got multiple handlings, and you've got different ideas and different concepts. Use that gaffed card that they receive in so many different ways.
Which we do.
That's the plan. That's exactly.
And we also have like a full theory session. We go into massive detail on this project, man.
That's good. That's good. That's what you need to do. And I've spoken to Perseus, and if you send me, you know, when Perseus edits the footage, and if you send me some of the gap cards, I'll happily put together some routines for you to include on the project. I don't want any payment in return. I don't want anything. I don't want any money. I don't want anything. I'll happily put some routines together. I'll go and film them. I'll do tutorials and explanations for them. I'll get some live performances. I'll send them over to Perseus. I'm more than happy to help with the product and lend my name to it, because, you know, I like to see new creators come up, and I like to see new people. And you do seem like a really nice guy, Aaron, and I'd love this product to be a success for you. And just because I disagree with, you know, the last week or so on social media and on the Magic Cafe, and just because I disagree with your point of view when it comes to you versus Penguin, doesn't mean I don't want to see you succeed. Doesn't mean I don't want to see Orion succeed. I do. So if you're cool with that and you guys can send me some of the gaffs, I would be more than happy to put together some routines for you that you can include on your project. And, you know, I'll, if I can help with it in any way, I'm more than happy to.
Yeah, no worries. If you come up with something great, we're happy to include it, and we'd be honored to have you on the project.
Come up with stuff like that. That's kind of my thing. It's something I'm pretty good at.
Do we have to credit you though?
I wanted to.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I want an acknowledgement.
Well, a line.
Cool.
Petty was it?
Yeah, cool. That's awesome. Okay, so hopefully the latest piece of magic drama is done now. You know,
Yep.
You know, people can move on to something else. Maybe we can get back to Mr. Blonde and the Peak device or something like that. That's far more interesting.
Oh, God, that thing.
So yeah, we'll get back to that. We'll carry on talking about the collective, and we'll move on. We'll move on. By the way,
Reservoir Dogs as bought or wish.com.
Can I ask you one question? And you got to be honest with me and don't lie.
All right.
Are you Mr. Blonde?
I mean, he's kind of blonde.
Yeah, it's kind of got a blonde tinge.
I mean, if I told you, I'd have to kill you, my friend.
Oh, there you go. That's everything I need to know. Looks like we found Mr. Blonde. Right, cool. So, when's it coming out, Perseus?
2023, early 2023.
Early 2023.
Yeah.
Early,
At the latest, I think.
At the latest.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe earlier than that, yeah. But that's
Maybe
the
earlier.
plan. That's the plan because I have other things on the pipeline as well.
Cool.
But,
I don't know. You and I need to talk about stuff. So.
Oh, absolutely. We shall.
Cool. Right. Okay. So it's coming out in 2023. Anybody who's watching this and you want to keep up to date with what's going on with Orion, the website is www.orionproductions.
Magic Productions.
OrionMagicProductions.com.
Yep.
I'll put a link at the bottom of the screen. And do you have like a Instagram or something, Aaron?
Yeah. Aaron,
yeah. Yeah, but as I said, this isn't a publicity thing, so I don't even know what my Instagram is right off the top of my head. So.
Fair enough. We'll put Orion's Instagram. Orion's got a really good Instagram, haven't they? So we'll put Orion's Instagram. We'll put all of Orion's details at the bottom. And you've got a mailing list, haven't you, Perseus? So people can get on the mailing list. And if they get on the mailing list, that'll be the way to find out when this and any future projects come out. While they're there, you know, go check out the review show special I did on Orion because they do some great stuff. Bottle is amazing. Cannibal.
I've got most of the products there. Incredible.
Yeah. Eric Cyclops, isn't
Stevens? It? Eric Stevens.
Cyclops. Yeah,
I performed that in my last show, actually.
Yeah. So you got some great stuff. So go check out Orion. They're amazing. And go check out Penguin as well, because they're also really, really cool.
Yes.
And yeah, next time you piss off a magic production company, we can do another one of these videos, Aaron. You know, I'd go after Murphy's next. They're evil. I heard.
Oh, poor Lloyd.
Lloyd
just saying that, like, oh pleasure. God, Craig, what have you got on you?
It's been an actual pleasure, man. And again, we can't thank you enough for inviting us here. It was a nice discussion over our differences and and similarities. And it's like, when it's mutual respect and there's logic in the dialogue and the emotions have subsided so we can talk, it's always a pleasure. It's always a nice thing that only moves magic forward.
Absolutely. So go check out Orion Productions. Go check out Aaron. Leave a comment down below. I'm sure the guys will see it. And I'll be back tomorrow with another video. And Perseus, Aaron, I'll see you guys soon.
Yeah.
Pleasure. Take care.